You know, we're back live. We are back live, back at it, about to get to it. Let me double check. You know, I got to make sure things over here on the left hand side show your boy live over here, just to make sure once it shows me live over here, we can get it popping. And there I am. So, with that being said, you know, we're going to take care of this disclosure slash disclaimer. And once I read this, we get into that trading recap. We break down a few tickers, and then we're just going to keep it pushing and rolling. But you guys know I always like to tap in with you. I try to tap in with us some point during the day, especially if I did take trades, just to go over the recap. So let's take care of the disclosure and the disclaimer, and then we can get it rocking. So, disclosure. Please note that the following is not legal advice or financial or investment advice and is provided for informational and educational purposes only. Investing in securities carries a high degree of risk and can result in the loss of your entire investment. You should consult with a qualified financial advisor or legal professional before making any investment decisions. The information contained in this presentation does not constitute an offer or solicitation to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments. Any opinions expressed in this presentation are subject to change without notice and should not be relied upon as a recommendation to buy or sell any securities. Please do your own due diligence and research before making any investment decisions. Now, with that being said, we can get it popping. All right, I see Farta Love, One Fast Move, Alex, or is it Alexa, and K Mark. So, got a few people coming in. Appreciate y'all for rocking with your boys. So, if you're new to my TikToks, what I like to do is I like to give trading recaps on the trades that I took during the day. And then after I do my recap and my breakdown, I like to get into a few ticker symbols to see what people are looking at. And then we just wrap it up. But I just want to tap in and see how everybody's doing. So I appreciate y'all for rocking with your boy. And let's just get into the trade recap for the day. So I'm going to bring up the Discord so we all can see what was in there and then get going. All right, AB55, user 374707. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for coming through. Let's take a look at the Discord. Let's look at the trading recap. So let me go on over here. Discord name is Passive Income University. And then we'll go into, where is it at? The Curtis G24 trades. And so this was the signal that I put in today. No, this was yesterday's. All right. Today, here we go. Today, right after the market opened. So just a heads up, if you're looking at my screen and you're looking at my timestamps, just a reminder and a heads up that I'm in California. I trade on the West Coast time. So for me, the market opens up at 6:30 a.m. and it closes at 1 o'clock p.m. That's West Coast time. So for me, right after the market opened up, I got into these Amazon calls that I had already been kind of charting and taking a look at, and just was able to make a quick little base hit within a matter of a few moments. But I want to go over what I saw with that trade, what I was looking for. And so for those of you that might be curious, the trading style that I use, that I lean towards, is I'm more of a scalper. On average, my winning trades are less than 10 minutes. My average winning trade based off of my data and my trading journal is about 10 minutes. My good solid trades are no more than 10 minutes. And I trade on the 30-minute chart. I don't really like using the 1 minute or the 5. I'm not knocking it. It's just for me, the way that my mind is set up, it's too much noise for me. Too much noise for me on those time frames. And let me close that out. It's so crazy. Every time I go live, I feel like TradingView goes very, very slow. All right, the Cerna family says, what you think about MLGO? We'll check that out in just a minute, my guy. Jay Blackout, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Let's take a look at what I saw with Amazon. So the thing about Amazon, and I start off with the daily chart. I always start off with the daily time frame. So let me hook that up. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more so it fits better on the TikTok screen. Boom. And then let me kind of move myself out the way so we can get into some more of this right here. Hopefully I'm not too crazy on your screen. All right, so basically what I kind of pinpointed looks a little choppy, looks a little rough, but somewhat on the daily chart an upward trend, right? We had an inside day right here the other day, but for the most part we were creating these higher lows, which would indicate an upward trend, right? And when we break it down onto the 30-minute chart, this is where I really like to fine tune my trend lines. From about a couple of days ago, this this low point, this low point here, I noticed that we were starting to trend up. We had some choppiness, a couple spikes, but then we kind of were just respecting this trend line on the 30-minute chart. So what I saw today, right when the market opened, was price came down right here. Price came down right to my trend line where I charted it. I got into my calls. It broke above yesterday's high. And once it broke above and I got my base set, I took my profits and I bounced. Now, what I definitely could have done to improve my trading was I could have just let some winners run. I could have just let these winners run for the rest of the day and I would have been good and I would have made more money. But at the end of the day, I'll never blame you. I never blame myself if you take profits and go. Simple and plain. Letting profits run or letting some winners run is something I'm working on. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to be happy if I'm ending it green or if my trade is green. But simple and plain, man, I am a trend line trader / scalper. And I just use trend line support and resistance. That's the long and short of it. I spotted this trend on the 30-minute chart, drew it. I see where it like to come down and bounce off of it. Got in, took my profits, and I bounced out. Don't be greedy. That's right, Johan. Don't be greedy. No reason to be greedy at all. No reason to be greedy at all. Appreciate it. All right. So, Jay Blackout again. Thank you for the follow, my guy. The Cerna family says, "What do I think about MLGO?" Now, before we go take a look at MLGO, any questions about how easy this was? Straightforward. I don't have any magic tricks. I don't have any real convoluted, complex strategies for you. Straight up and down trend line. Wait for it to come down to bounce off of my price point, and then go ahead and get in and just ride it up a little bit. Yo, DOMX Sports, thank you for the follow. Velocity Reaper says, yeah, what's those indicators? So if we're talking about these numbers that are underneath each candlestick, those numbers are representative of the strat. Now, the strat is a trading style or methodology created by a guy by the name of Rob Smith. Unfortunately, Rob Smith, he passed away last year. But the strat is something that makes it, at least in my opinion, it makes it very, very easy for new traders to kind of get their footing. A lot of people, including myself, we start off trading with the strat. I don't use it every day anymore, but if you're a beginning trader, I definitely strongly recommend checking out the strat because it's really, really good at helping new traders identify entry and exit points based off of their candles. All right. Let's take a look. Johan says, in bigger time frames, I see a cup and handle pattern on Amazon. You think it's valid? Yo, Florida boy, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. All right, so the comments are rolling in. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for the like. So just bear with me. I'm going to do the best that I can to make sure I'm tapped in with you guys in the comments. So give me one at a time because I know somebody wants to look at MLGO. But I'll show you guys what I played, Amazon, how I played it. So I'm going to go back to the daily chart and check this out. This was super cool to me. Our guy says he's looking at a cup and handle. But look at this right here. In my Discord, we played this out perfectly. Look at this double top on Amazon and how this came out. This is a double top on the daily chart. Boom, first top, came down here. The middle of the M, if you will, had this strong bullish hammer. We have the second top over here, and then we just played this all the way down on a daily basis. Each time price bounced off of the trend line, I'll draw it right over here. Y'all just bear with me and rock with me for a moment. I drew a trend line right here on the daily chart, and then I would zoom in each day on the 30-minute, and each time price bounced off of the line, we got into puts and just took it down on Amazon. So this was beautiful. So that's definitely something I saw recently on the higher time frame. Let me go back up. Yo, just for you, thank you for the follow. Let me see who asked that. So I got a few comments in here. I'm already missing. Somebody asked, it's so crazy, man. TikTok will hide and remove comments, but somebody just asked about the cup and handle. Here it is. Johan, in bigger time frames, I see a cup and handle pattern on Amazon. Do you think it's valid? So are you talking about a minimum of the daily chart? Or are you talking about the 4-hour? You know, sometimes on these different time frames, it could look a little different. But I could kind of see it forming over here on the right-hand side, if that's what you're talking about, cup and handle a little bit. I could kind of see that on the daily. Yo. Felix 102, thank you for the follow. Flowrider says sell from high and open. Yep. Appreciate you, Frank, for sharing the live. I try to do good at pronouncing people's names, but you guys have the really unique, clever names. All right, intake on GameStop. We're going to check out GameStop in just a moment. Bear with me. I do want to make sure I try to do the best I can to get these in order. So the first thing that I saw was somebody wanted to ask about MLGO, and that was the Cerna family. The Cerna family, just give me a little emoji or something, indication, bro, that you're still in. We'll take a look at MLGO really quick, and I'll keep going through the comments just to kind of keep them in order. We're already tapped in at 1K likes. Thank y'all so much. There's about 46 of us in here rocking with me. So I appreciate you. Oh, Cerna family still in the building. All right, my guys. So let me pull that up really quick. I appreciate all the comments, y'all. I really do appreciate when y'all engage with me. I always feel like we have a good time on my lives. And so, like I said, I'm going to try the best I can. It gets a little tricky sometimes to try to stay tapped in with the comments, but I always try to do the best I can with going back and checking out the comments that came in. So here we're looking at MLGO. That's ticker symbol Mary, Larry, George, Oscar. And it looks like on the daily chart, there was a huge spike. Oh my gosh. Tom Strikes, thank you for the follow. Not Off Boy, thank you for the follow. So let me go ahead and readjust so we can get a little bit more information from our chart onto the TikTok screen. All right, so right here, if you guys can see that towards the bottom of the screen on the daily chart, back at the beginning of December, there was huge spike on MLGO, and it went from nearly $160, and now we're all the way down to $6.97 a share. So we did have another spike that popped up. It's interesting. It really is interesting. I think we have two mixtures of things going on. I don't know exactly what micro algo does, so I do want to look into that. But if it's anything like AI or chip micro like related in those adjacent fields, we're seeing a lot of those things get pumps. Now, in this moment in time, obviously, what we can see is this gap down that needs to be filled. So if we're long, right, if we have a bullish sentiment to the Cerna family, if we're thinking bullish, then what I would want to do is identify a level of support somewhere, right? And we could kind of see that maybe right about here in this area. I got to get better at just looking through the phone when I'm chopping it up with y'all. But let me just show you what I would do. We're just going to, this is for beginners, right? We're not going crazy. Just some real easy charting. So it kind of is like, and this is just a rough eyeball, it kind of does look like we are somewhat in a support and resistance zone. Right, we are somewhat in a support and resistance zone. I might want to wait for price to drop down a little bit more if I'm long or if I'm bullish to buy shares or to buy calls if they do offer options trading on this particular ticker. That's my immediate sentiment. I'm very conservative. Let me keep it real with y'all. I'm a very conservative trader. And so if I was bullish on this, I would definitely be looking to scoop up some more to go long down here where the price drops a little bit. But now if we're bearish, if we have some bearish sentiment and we're thinking, okay, this was just a little bit of hype, this was just a little bit of a pump, then I will look for it to break below right about here. I don't know why I keep looking over the side. I feel like that looks very goofy, so y'all rock with me. But okay, so if we go right about here, I don't know if you guys can see this little gap, but right in this area for sure, if price breaks below, in my opinion, if price gets below or into this area, then we're going to come on down, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I'm not an oracle or, I don't got the glass crystal ball or whatever. But those are just my thoughts right there. All right. Okay, let me see. We got the comments coming through here. What was their info? Can you do SPY? All right, I'm going to come through. Okay. So I'm just kind of keeping these comments in order. So the next one, if I was looking at it correctly, that we wanted to take a look at was, yo, Josh, if you're still in, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. So, of course, everybody wants to take a look at GameStop. I take it that you guys weren't on my live these past couple of times that I went live, but, of course, I have no problem talking about GME. So let's go take a look and see. Now, if you're in GameStop right now, drop a 1 in the chat. If you're in GME right now, drop a 1 in the chat. If you've got calls or you bought shares within this past few weeks, not if you've been holding, not if you've been diamond handsing from years ago. If you got in within the past few weeks on GME, put 1 in the chat. All right. Big shout out to RJ Roman. Big shout out to King Jr. All right. Special Ed 41. Big shout out to you. We got people. We got people buying in. Nice little good bullish day today on GME. Man, all right, all right. Oops, let me kind of messed up the chart a little bit. Let me bring that line back down. Now, even though this looks a little wonky, we know that we're in some very choppy territory with GME, right? I don't even feel I want to give you guys value, but I don't think there's too much that I could tell you right now about GME that if you've gotten into it, if you've been following it, that you probably haven't already analyzed yourself. So really, really the key right now for playing GME, in my opinion, is to be sharp on your entry. If you haven't got in already and you're looking for an entry, specifically for like earnings that's coming up in a few days or anything like that, the key is going to be looking for a good entry target or good entry price and then playing through earnings. Now, I really don't like to do that, especially before the numbers, but that would be my short-term kind of way I would approach it. And so that would just come with a little bit of analysis, understanding like maybe some trends, checking out the different time frames. It's kind of interesting if you guys look at this. Do you guys see this right here? All right, Vince Walker, thank you for the follow. All right, let me see. Mason says, what do you recommend for a good entry place? Now, look at, I just spotted this out with my eyes right now. I don't know if you guys see what I see. This is the daily chart on GME, and this could be pretty rough. This is pretty rough, but look at the bottoms, the lows here, the lows, and then it gets a lot easier to kind of, or a lot better to draw. I don't like this, what's name being, and bring this down. Let me make this a solid line. This is kind of what I'm seeing in an odd way, even though this one kind of messed up the trend. But if we go down to a lower time frame, and this is just rough eyeballs, right? I like to do this very simple for the new traders. This isn't like trying to go extra complicated. But this is kind of what I'm seeing right now from here, right? This kind of trend line. So what I would like to possibly see maybe is if price comes back down here between the high of yesterday, right at this little intersection, this little pocket, if we would come down here for a level of support, look at it, it's support as well. Support and resistance. It's a SR zone, as I call them, you know. So for new traders, if you're very, 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 very at the beginning of your journey, one thing that I really believe in is that support becomes resistance and resistance becomes support. So what my eye sees is right in here, we've got a little bit of support and resistance. So what I would like to see, based off of this trend line that I just drew, what I would like to see, it lines up kind of perfectly. If price was to come back down to this range, let me move it over so we can see what we're talking about. Let me squeeze it on in. Let's squeeze it on in, y'all. Rock with your boy. Rock with your boy. So something around this area, this 28 area, I would be looking to try to get in. And then we could go back in time to see if that's also a continued level of support and resistance. Boom, look at that right in here from where this gap down was. Look at over here, even in this area. So high 27s, low 28s, that would be nice. I would feel very, very confident, or I would feel safer. I would feel safer if I could get in around here, right? Around this support and resistance zone. All right, all right. Let's see, Triple DGAH, thank you for the follow. Let me see, let me keep going through. Mason, thank you for the follow. Johan, gotta roll the dice every now and then. That's King Jr., they're chopping it up. I like it when y'all chop it up in the chat. Phoenix sent a heart, appreciate you. Became number 5 in the member team, thank you so much. All right, so Mason, I hope that answers your question, at least how I would approach it. Very simple. And please don't take this the wrong way. This is no knock. I'm only speaking for me. When I make my charting and my trading is simple and is easy to understand, it's worked out a lot better for me profits wise. So I can't really speak to you about fair value gaps and sweep highs and sweep lows and institutional buyers and all that coming in. What my eyes easily identify is this nice little trend that started a few days ago, some support and resistance, coming down into this area right in here, high 27s, low 28s, and being able to go long. That's what I would like to see if I was to be playing GME. All right, let me get down to some of these messages. I know y'all are coming through. Adrian says, do you trade futures, options, etc.? So Adrian, I only trade options as of right now. A lot of people have recommended and suggested that I try futures or Forex, but I really want to stick to this one thing. I poured a lot of my life, years into options trading, a lot of sweat, pain, tears, and things like that. So I don't want to just walk away or pick up something new. I really want to master options so that I'm confident that at any given time I could pull out 4 figures or, make a quick 10 bands in a week. When I get to that level where I feel like I have mastery, then I'll graduate and try to introduce some Forex or futures. So that's where I'm at right now. All right, so Love Aim says, what's the difference between options trading and Forex? So options tradings are contracts that are tied to a particular stock, like Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. Forex is short for foreign exchange, and that's trading based off of currencies, right? So like the US dollar compared to the Japanese yen, or the euro compared to like the pound or something like that. And so Forex deals with foreign currencies, foreign exchange. Options trading deals with stocks. I hope that hope that helps you out, answers you. All right. I don't want to make sure I don't want to miss people, so y'all bear with me because we're rocking together. Thank y'all. Almost 4K on the likes. Man, I want to tell y'all something, man. I always love going live with the TikTok community. You guys are so dope. Y'all are so dope. Okay. So Love Aim, I hope that, kind of gave you the difference between the two. Dave S, are the support line different on different time lines? Yeah, you'll see them differently, at least visually. So right now we're looking at the 30-minute chart, right? They'll look different, but they should be the same if I'm understanding what you're asking me, right? So here we're looking at the 30-minute chart for GME. But if I change it to the 1 hour, here's a 1 hour chart. You see how it looks? So for the most part, your trend line should look the same, and the same with like your support and resistance for the most part. They may look a little different, but they should be in the general areas. Okay. I feel like we got a lot coming in. So please bear with me, y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I try to scroll through. We got new comments, old comments, new tickers, old tickers. Joy Ray says Index. Okay, ceiling popcorn removal. Give me just a moment because I know Joy Ray's been talking about Index for a few times. Ceiling popcorn removal says, are you an options seller or work with calls and puts? So I do work with calls and puts for the most part. 80-90% of the time I'm an options buyer. I buy contracts, flip them, sell them for a profit. But I definitely do think that being an options seller is a top tier way and an easier way really to make money in terms of options trading. That's in my opinion, and I have done some in the past. I did it with Roku, I did it with Roblox. So if you can get to that level of becoming an options seller, to me, it's really, really peaceful, man. You get your premium and you just go on about your day. Let the traders fight it out in the market. So if people in the community in the TikTok live, if you want a little bit of more information about the difference between being a seller versus a buyer, let me know. But let me take care of Joy Ray. Joy Ray, you still in the building, my guy? Joy Ray, are you still in the building? Is Joy Ray still in the building? Let's go take a look at Index. We're gonna take a look at Index. All right, let me create a new. Yo, oh man, I'm in one of those moods where I feel like we need some music. Sometimes when I be getting on the TikTok lives with y'all and I throw in some music, we really be jamming out. Like all of us be jamming out. I feel like we need some music. We're gonna create this new chart. We're gonna check out ticker symbol Index, dropped in the chat by Joey Ray. That is Nancy Victor Adam X-ray. That's Nancy Victor Adam X-ray Index. Makes me think of all right, so that is company Novavax. Looks like they've been in a strong daily uptrend, big time. A huge gap up. Where did this gap come from? That's the first thing I would like to identify. So it was from their earnings. So they must have had some good earnings here on Index. They actually missed revenue. Okay, and they had some low guidance, at least for this time. Now, for my new traders, like I said, I'm going to keep saying this. My TikToks and my lives and basically my general content is to give guidance and give what I know from my experience to new traders. So this isn't for the people that are advanced or intermediate. This is for us beginner folks. One thing I've definitely learned, and I've had to learn this by burning my hands and learning the hard way, when it comes to earnings, especially in this era that we're in, especially with the U.S. economy, it really doesn't matter. As we can see here, it really doesn't matter about the actual numbers that they are reporting. In this era, in this economy, in this market that we're in, the most important thing when it comes to earnings is the company's future guidance. How does the company feel about itself in terms of the future? And that's where you'll see these big boosts either to the upside or the downside. If the company doesn't feel good about itself in the future, you'll typically see the market react negatively. If the company is showing some uncertainty about the future, you'll see the market react negatively. If the company is on some, in the future, we're really about to ball out. We're really about to have better numbers. We're really about to dominate the market. We're really about to have new products. We're really about to get more customers. Then you'll see boosts like this, even though they missed their revenue. Even though they miss revenue, you'll see boosts like this when the company feels positive about their future. So when it comes to earnings, the most important thing is the future guidance. Now, the way that I like to play earnings is just riding the momentum. I don't even try to play before the numbers are released. I wait till the numbers come out, see how the market reacts, and then you would ride this momentum upward. Now, with that being said, what we will want to do when it comes to NVAX is just identify the same thing that we did with GME or GameStop. If you are bullish or you want to go long, you want to get into NVAX, simply what you want to do is identify some levels of support and resistance. Wait for price to come back to that level. This could be a potential level right here, and this could be a potential level right here for price to come back down to that support, right? It doesn't want to go below. That's where you want to get your shares, or that's where you want to get your calls, or you want to go long. Very simple. Nothing over the top, nothing crazy, nothing convoluted. I like to keep it very logical and straightforward. All right, I know I got a whole bunch of comments in here, but I hope that makes sense. Let me just do it really quick. I think that was for Joy Ray. So if I was to get in, can't give you guys any financial advice. I can only talk about what I would do. The first thing I'm kind of identifying is this quick little area right here. Oops, that's very ugly. Let me kind of, let me just, what's the name? Hold on, bear with me. Okay, all right, let me squeeze this down because I want to see in the past, do we ever have any, look at that. Look at right here, just draw this line across. Boom, support and resistance. Remember, for the new traders, support becomes resistance and resistance becomes support. So way back in 2022, over here on the left-hand side of the chart, this was already an area of support and resistance. You can see that already on NVAX. So what I would do if I was interested, and this is where you have to be patient, don't have FOMO, I will wait for price to come back down and test the support zone, support and resistance, before I went long, before I got in on NVAX. And then what you could also do is the same thing we did with GME. You might want to come in here. I like to start off on the daily chart with my trend lines. This is going to be a little rough, right? Do something kind of like this. This is a very bad, rough one, but I just want to do it quickly. Then I like to come down to the smaller time frames to really, fine tune my trend line. That's what I like to do. So something coming right into here, coming down here, before bouncing up and continuing to go. You don't want to buy high, right? And I know you might have a little FOMO, but you want to do the best that you can where you're not buying high. Wait for a little bit of pullback and then get in. Let me see. All right. Jonte Thais Williams. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in FFIE. I traded it live. It was a moment. It was crazy. I haven't looked at it because they kind of pushed it back down. All right. Joy Ray wants to know what's the support. All right. We got about 50 of us rocking with us in here. Thank y'all so much, and almost 5,000 likes. Or 4.5. Yo, you guys are so dope. Y'all are so dope. Thank you so much. Okay, Lucid J, thank you for the follow. Big shout out to you. Jonte, I appreciate that. Thank you for the follow, my guy. Joy Ray says, what's the pullback amount? So speaking to a specific dollar, like right here looks a little bit clearer. Right in here, and that's kind of a big drop. I mean, for something down here, you would have to be patient. Around like the 18, we can see if you look over here on the right hand side, so at least around the 1829, 1830 mark for it to come back down to that area for support before I start looking for entries and looking to go long or calls. That's for me. Yo, big shout out to Caleb, my guy in the building. Caleb City. Yes indeed, Caleb City. All right, Victoriano, thank you for the live, appreciate it. Caleb, thanks for the likes. All right, let me get back in these comments. Eric Avila says, do you wait for it to make reversal candles or just when it hits the resistance line? Lately, just when it hits the resistance line. For a minute, I was trying out looking for reversal candles, but it's been working out better for me. Just like how I did the Amazon trade. I don't know if you were on earlier, Eric, but right when the Amazon came down to where I wanted it to be, I got in. I didn't necessarily wait for the candle to close, which as I'm growing in my trading journey, that really wasn't the way I learned to trade, right? 90% of the things I saw when learning to trade always said wait for the candle to close. But with this style of trading that I'm doing, that I've been cultivating lately, which is the simple trend line support and resistance, I really don't wait for the candle to close. I wait for it to come to my price, and then I get in. Now, on the other side, in terms of my stop loss, which is a little weird, but I kind of have been leaning on waiting for the candle to close. It's a bit more risky, but I've been seeing lately that if I don't wait for the candle to close, I kind of stop myself out too early. Now, I'm not saying y'all should do that. I'm just kind of fine-tuning my approach. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let me see. Jack Helfrich says, is there ascending flag? If so, ascending flag is a bearish signal. Mason says, does I have a Discord? I do. It is called Passive Income University. The link is in the bio, in the IO. Rhymes with Bucket, thank you for the follow. So I'm going to make sure I take care of Jack Helfrich. So is there an ascending flag? Kind of like this right here. We're on the 30-minute chart. This looks like a bull flag. And so flags can be both bullish and bearish depending on their direction or their shape. So on the 30-minute time frame, and this might be more so a pennant, depending on how you define it and how people do their let's bring that in. I feel like that looks so far away. I feel like we're looking into space and we're like looking through a telescope trying to see the stars or a distant galaxy. So let's bring that up. But on this 30-minute time frame right here, almost can be considered, right, a bull flag, right? This being the pole, and then we have the actual flag before it boosts up. So maybe even now in the smaller time frame, you could even consider this being a little bit of support and resistance. I would be a little hesitant. Maybe if you go back in time to see if there is something that kind of corroborates that in the past, that would give me more confidence about this level right here, but to a degree. But to answer your question, to my guy Jack, flags can be bullish and bearish, just depending on their direction. So if this was inverted, if this was upside down, right, where we had the long pole at the top and then this kind of triangle at the bottom, this would be a bearish signal, if that makes sense. Okay. What we got? Okay. Good luck, Miles. Thank you for sharing the live. Eric, thanks for the follow. Eric says, hell yeah, same here. It's been better. And the stop loss makes it the cherry on the top. That's right. Okay. All right. Let me come through. I know we have some comments in here. I know we had comments. So let me just scroll through, y'all. Let me check it out. Sup, Chris. Thank you for sending the lightning bolts. 10 of them, it looks like. I appreciate it. Sup, Chris just got the #1 gifter bag. Big shout out to Sup, Chris. All right, Aces, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. All right, Jonte Thais Williams says, need tips on stocks. So it depends on what you mean by tips. Are we talking about short-term trading? What I do is option trading, or are we talking about long-term? So this does remind me, though. So the whole purpose of why I trade, right? Or one of the many reasons, but speaking specifically to like my Discord and things like that, the whole purpose of becoming profitable with trading, there's many reasons, but this particular one, when you talk about wanting tips on stocks, is to take the profits from the short-term trading and then invest it into something that's going to take care of you in the future. That's why the name of my Discord is Passive Income University. That's the whole goal right there. So you want to take those profits and put them somewhere so it could generate more money for you and you don't have to work as hard as you get older. That's my whole goal. That's it right there. Okay. So if you need tips, and the reason why I bring that up too is because in the Discord, it just isn't my trading that I go over, but I also go over my long-term portfolio. So anytime I add stocks or anything to my long-term portfolio, I always put that in. And so I do have a YouTube channel where I have my long format videos, and I give the whole, like, my investing thesis, why I'm investing in a particular company, things of that nature, so you can check all that out. And then I even have a public link, well, not really public, but I have a link where on a weekly basis, I update my portfolio. You can see the visuals. So I take profits from my trading, and I use some of those profits to add to my long-term portfolio. So depending on what you mean by needing stock tips, that's what we would address. If you're talking more long-term for investing, or are we talking more so for trading? All right, we got a whole bunch of new messages. Yo, Caleb, I see you. Caleb City, HMP 2318. That sounds familiar. I feel like you've been in the live before, even recently. HMP 2318. Yeah, I want to buy, but worried that after the split on Nvidia, it will go down. You know, I started just doing some very broad and basic analysis on stock splits, right? We know in recent years, Apple had a stock split, Tesla had a stock split, Walmart just had a stock split, and Walmart is at all-time highs. For the most part, and this is just tip of the iceberg, I really haven't rolled up my sleeves and really dug in, but for the most part, most of the companies I've looked at, except for Tesla, have all basically returned back to their levels after their split. And like I said, it's not financial advice, it's not investment advice. It's just something that I've noticed, very, very tip of the iceberg. So far, out of the major companies that have had recent stock splits in recent years, Tesla is the only one that really hasn't really like bounced right back after they split. Well, maybe it did, but going into 2024, as we all know, Tesla's been like the bottom performing stock in the S&P 500. So just take that with a grain of salt, if you will. In terms of Nvidia, from a long-term perspective, I'm bullish. I'm very bullish. It's just that right now it's so hot, and I kind of do feel they're going to snatch back a chunk of money. I feel like the market makers are at any given moment, they're going to snatch back just a quick drawdown or retracement. They're going to snatch Nvidia down. It's going to shock a few people. So if you're looking to get in, I just say exercise caution because the stock is so hot right now. Now, if you have a long-term bullish sentiment on Nvidia, you'll just have to stomach that and just wait it out. But if you don't have heavy conviction, I would just exercise caution. If you're the type of person that gets a little queasy, you might want to just wait for them to snatch the money back. Because I can't guarantee anything, but I have a high level of confidence that there's going to be a sharp pullback that's just going to kind of scare people, just kind of, shake people a little bit. All right. Let's see. Okay. All nice people. Thank you for the like. Thank you so much. User 514-628-44449. Amazon split. What do I think about AMD as well? Let me see. Let's see. Ken says you do mentorship. So yeah, to a degree. More and more people have been asking for mentorship or one-on-ones. I don't know why I'm blurry right now. That's crazy. More and more people have been asking. Why is the camera tripping? That's crazy. More and more people have been asking for one-on-ones. The closest that I do really is like one-on-one / small groups for people in the Discord. So, if people join the Discord and they hit me up and they're like, hey, G, do you have time to hop on a call or something like that? Then yeah, we can do that. Or going live at a certain time just for my group or something like that. I used to do one-on-ones, but I kind of felt like they were becoming very, very time consuming. So I'm trying to get into a space where I can really scale my time. Let's see. All right, I don't know why the camera just got blurry all of a sudden. Let's see if we can wipe it down. That's odd. There we go. All right, yeah, kind of got crazy. That was agitating me. All right, so Vince Walker says, are you doing 30-minute trades or 24-hour trades? Yo, SB, thank you for the follow. Ray Trey, how do we get into your Discord? The link is in the bio, my friend, my guy. So Vince Walker, I'm not too sure what you mean by are you doing 30-minute trades or 24-hour trades? What I will tell you is that I typically lean on and look at the 30-minute chart. So this is a 30-minute chart right here. And if you're a very, very brand new beginner trader, what that means is each one of these candles represents 30 minutes in time. But I naturally lean on scalping. Now, when you hear scalping, for those of us that know, or those of us that don't know, a scalper is somebody who gets in and out of trades very, very fast. In my own definition, a scalper is somebody who holds trades less than 60 minutes, less than an hour. Now, typically, scalpers are going to use a 5-minute chart, a 1-minute chart, 15 minutes, things like that. But for some reason, the way that my brain is wired and the way that my eyes are, the lower time frames, they're too noisy to me. It's something about the 30-minute, the way the candles move, the way that they shape everything out. It just makes the most sense in my mind. So I use the 30-minute chart to trade, but most of my most successful trades are 10 minutes or less. So I hope that kind of answers your question. All right. Ray Trade, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Okay, so I know we got some other tickers to go in there, but I do want to prepare us because I typically don't do this too often. When I do my TikTok lives, I usually don't find a play that I'm extremely high confidence in for the next day. So I kind of want to show y'all. I want to find a play with us that I probably most likely I'm gonna take in the morning. Let's see. And another thing that I've been gravitating to is actually just trading the same tickers over and over. I will tell my new traders out there, beginning traders, that is really, really helping me. And one thing that I've noticed as well is having a trading journal. So I know you guys aren't necessarily asking me for this info, but it's just on my heart and my mind. So I gotta share it with y'all if it's put on my heart and my mind and my spirit to tell you. For my new traders out there, if I could go back and do things differently, and take this from somebody who's lost tens of thousands of dollars on this journey. If I could go back and do things differently, the number one things that I would do is definitely start off with a trading journal, a detailed trading journal, and then a back testing log. Now, specifically, what I want to talk to you about in terms of the trading journal, what's dope about that is if you have a detailed trading journal, you can easily identify where your strengths and your weaknesses are. And within this past week, I went through and analyzed my trading journal, and the tickers that I do the best in, that I trade, that I have the most success, are Amazon, Google, and Apple. Those three right there. I'm starting to focus more energy on just mastering those, the personality of each ticker, and just trading those three. I'm not telling you, if you see a play on a ticker that that comes up, that you shouldn't take it. But what I am saying is for us new traders or beginning traders, the key is going to have to be repetition and getting your rhythm. And the best way to find your rhythm is by having a trading journal and just sticking to a nice little handful, a small batch of tickers that you trade. All right. I know we got some messages in here. Samantha Dudley says, what is the smallest amount I should consider trading? She got an answer from Cagliostero, who says 1K. And this is really a subjective question, and I really am on the fence about it the more and more that I trade. On one end, and this is a question you've got to ask yourself, Samantha, on a regular, consistent basis, right? Not looking for a home run where you got to trade that was 100% or 1,000% or something like that. What is a tangible amount of money that would make you feel worth it? And that's a hard question to ask. So, if you made $100 on a trade, does that make you feel like, hey, this was worth it? Or are you only looking for, I need 5,000 or whatever the case may be? And the reason why I'm asking that is similar to what, let me see what the gentleman said. His name just disappeared. Castelliero, who says 1K, something like that. And to be honest with you, my average trade for the past 2 months has been about 1K. So it's a perfectly well-timed question. I try not to give explicit yes or no, concrete, black or white responses and those type of questions. But if you want a live example, my average trade for the past 2 months has been about 1K. I typically aim for about 10 to 20% profit targets on my trade. So we're talking about $100 to $200, something like that. Today on the Amazon, I made $124. So just to give you a realistic what's possible, not I took 1,000 and I turned it into 20,000. No, a realistic. I'm using 1K, making about 10 to 20% on my scalps. All right. Let's see. Don't want to miss y'all comments. Kyla says, if you're trading with 1K, only risk 10% of your account and go from there. Good risk management, good rule of thumb. That's right. And there's a differentiation there, right? If we're talking about 1K per trade, or if we're talking about our total account size is 1K. Big shout to Kyla or Kayla. I believe you were on before, sister, in one of my lives. So thank you for coming back through and rocking with me. Okay, all right. Jack says, what would you say makes the detailed trading journal? Would it be entry, exit, win, rate, rationale? Yeah, all those things. I even have a column on my trading journal that ask about my emotional intelligence. So I go back in and I pick one or two emotional words that describe how I felt during that trade. Fearful. Was I greedy? Was I impatient? Was I peaceful? Was I patient? Was I calm? You want to have those things to help you identify why is it that you felt those emotional or those psychological things. So if you're seeing, hey, I've been feeling really like fearful, or I've been very, very impatient with my trades, then you might want to look at, okay, am I entering too late? Am I entering too early? Are my entries kind of off? If you've been feeling very, very fearful, it might be related to having too much size on a trade, things like that. But on my trading journal, and I use two. So I have a manual Excel trading journal where I enter in all my data, the entry, the stop, the date, the trade, the ticker, all of that kind of stuff. I put in the rationale for why I took the trade. I put all that in manually in Excel. And then I also use TradeZella. So TradeZella is a digital or electronic trading journal that actually can connect directly with your broker. And then it automatically logs all your trades for you. And then you could go in and then add some additional comments or add your strategy and things like that. The good thing about TradeZella is once it's hooked up to your broker, it's automatically going to get logged and you can't avoid it. The tough thing about having like a manual journal is you have to be disciplined and make sure you go in and log your trades. So things like that. Let me go through the comments. AK, thank you for the follow. Third Son 83, thank you for the follow. Dwayne Hill says made 10x on Gaga. Now it's time for Marv to do 10x. Didar says, do you think GME will pass $50 a share by next week? Earlier I was on a broadcast and the host was saying that at least the goal, right? The goal would be at minimum about this $40 mark. I would say that at minimum this $40 mark. 50, anything is possible, right? But I would say the most realistic scenario is around the $40 mark when it comes to GME. All right. Ceiling Popcorn Removal says, so for scalping, you use in the money calls and puts. Yes, I do. In the money or at the money, as close as I possibly can that I can afford. And what I mean by that is if I'm trading with about 1K, I want to be able to buy a few contracts so that I can scale in and out or possibly let one or two run. So as close as I can get to in the money or at the money, that still allows me to buy multiple contracts. So let's take a look at today's trade. Let's go take a look. That's a good question. Pardon me, excuse me, y'all. So we'll look at today's trade. And this was today. So here is the Amazon. Right? Here is the Amazon. Whoa. So 4 contracts, about $1,084. And let me go back here. Let me move this down. Jeez, let me move me out the way. So I got Amazon 180 calls when Amazon was at 179.22. So I got as close as I could. That would still allow me to buy multiple contracts with that $1,000 right there, if that makes sense. That's how I do it. As close as I can get to in the money or at the money, that will still allow me to buy multiple contracts. And then usually, even though I'm a scalper, and this is going to crack some people up, even though I'm scalping, even though I know that for the most part, I'm going to be in and out of the trade, I still like to buy time. And one of the things I was just discussing on a Twitter space the other day is I'd rather have time and not need it than need time and not have it. So even though I'm scalping, as you can see, the contracts didn't expire until the 14th. Like I said, I'm a very conservative trader. I'm very, very conservative. I'm not really risky. The only time I become risky is when I'm lose control of my emotions. But just in general, the sheer nature in which I trade is very, very conservative, at least when I'm entering a trade. Now, maintaining your emotional and psychological state, that's something else. But at least when I'm entering a trade, I usually enter very, very conservative. And even though I knew I was going to scalp, I still bought myself some time on these. And I do swing trade plays as well. If you were on the beginning of this live where I talked about how we did the double top on Amazon, those are some swing trade plays as well for the Amazon. Carlos says, can you set a stop on a put options on Robinhood? Yes, you can. That's right, Carlos. So if you're buying puts, you can set a stop loss. The Cavity Podcast, what's your thoughts on QQQ for tomorrow? All right, give me just a moment. The Cavity Podcast, user 514-628-555-4449 says, did that mean $40 is the GME ceiling for just the week or longer term? For just the week and kind of like surrounding earnings and things like that, just for that time. Longer term, and please don't take this the wrong way, I'm always trying to offer like real disclaimers. Take this with a grain of salt. Just like what we saw 3 years ago in 2021, I believe the same type of thing is going to happen just because of human behavior. So long term, and I've said this a couple times on my TikTok lives, and if you guys are ever curious, I have all of my videos are on my YouTube channel. So if you ever wanted to watch me break down a ticker, you know, if you want to see what I said about something weeks ago, if you just wanted more information, I put all of my videos on YouTube for free. So you can head over to my YouTube, Curtis G24, and you get the long format and you get my rationale and everything like that. Just to kind of remind y'all, a shameless plug, right? But when it comes to GME, I do think that the normal human behavior is going to kick in, and unfortunately that's just the way that we've been programmed. We've got the hype, everybody's feeling good, we got Roaring Kitty, he's back, he's dropping memes, he's dropping posts, he put his statement, his holdings out there, but in a couple months time this will fade away. This will continue to fade away just like we saw in 2021. So with that being said, my long-term play, if I was to play GME long-term, speaking specifically about options trading, what I would do is get puts as far out into the future that I could afford, as close to the money at whatever the price is now that I could afford. Same way, as far out as I can afford and as closest to the money that I could afford for puts. And so there are a few people that were been in lives that say, 3 months out, they have put expirations, things like that. And I don't say that to mean that I'm betting against GME, but we also have to be very logical and practical about human behavior. Right now, we're all feeling good. Roaring Kitty's got everybody, amped up. We got our chest out. But remember, he disappeared for 3 years. So if he disappears again, do we lose that momentum? Do we lose that bullish sentiment? Things like that. And you just want to kind of keep that in mind. All right. Walter 2024, thank you for the follow. Chase Bands, thank you for coming through. Big Buck Wall Street 805, leaps for sure. Yep. Book Buck Wall Street 805 says, I'm holding out for now on GME puts, but GME will print on the long run. All right. Tabashili, did I pronounce that right? Tabashili, thank you for the follow. User 315192593, is it a good time to buy NVIDIA at this high? We kind of talked about that a little bit a moment ago. In the short term, in the near term, don't know exactly when. I have a strong belief that they're going to kind of pull NVIDIA a little bit just to shake people. Quick retracement. There's some belief, there's some school of thought, there's a narrative out there that they're playing the levels of NVIDIA off of GME. What we saw today was NVIDIA, to a degree, just ran straight up. Right? NVIDIA just ran straight up. And some people are thinking that around the GME earnings or something like that, we might see kind of like a seesaw. We might see like somewhat of a seesaw between their prices. I don't know how true that is. I just thought it was an interesting kind of theory, interesting thesis, if you will. But in terms of answering your question more directly, or to reiterate, if you have a strong stomach, a strong tolerance, in the long term, I am bullish on NVIDIA. I really am in the long term. But short term, if you get in now, you'll have to be prepared for a quick jot back or retracement. So what I would do is identify a certain level of pullback that you would feel comfortable entering in. That's what I would do in terms of either calls or long term just buying shares, in my opinion. All right. Okay, Christopher King 598, thank you for the follow. Christopher King says, do you think Holo will squeeze? Big Bug Wall Street 805 says, what do you think, boss man, on puts on CGC? Okay, all right. Deidre says 1097. Not too sure what you mean, sister, by 1097. Give me a little bit of background there, but let me go back to some of these beginning questions. So to Christopher Clinch, do you think Holo will squeeze? I don't even know about Holo. Don't even know that ticker. So in terms of that, I would need to go in and really do some homework and do some research. when it comes to these squeezes, right? When they come into the spotlight, it's easy to make a, like, this is what I think it will do, but you should always, even more so from outside of a technical analysis, push yourself to do a little bit of due diligence and fundamental analysis is what I'm getting at. Because ultimately what's happening, here's my overall theory. We have a lot of these different, like, look at all these different tickers right around the same time for GME. Oops. All right, my bad, y'all. I hate when TikTok does that thing to make sure I'm still a human or that I'm still on the live or whatever the case may be. Clearly, they see me interacting with y'all. But one thing I want us to consider and just keep in mind, you see how a lot of these tickers, and I don't know for your world and your reality how long you've been following them, but it seems like a lot of these, like CRNK, FFIE, all of these different ones that are kind of like, under $10 or penny stocks or things like that, they're kind of like booming out of nowhere. And a lot of that, in my opinion, is kind of tied to the bullish, strong pump of like the meme stocks and the meme coins. So what we want to do is be very careful in kind of chasing these trends. We really want to exercise caution. So if it's something that you already long-term have been following, then you should know pretty confidently from a fundamental analysis and technical analysis standpoint what's going on with the company. But if you don't know, and it's just something you heard about recently, then I try not to lean just on technical analysis, because we could easily get faked out because there isn't too much consistent data depending on the ticker symbol. This one actually looks like there's some good data in here that we could analyze. But we just want to double check, right? Like, it looks like there might be like a little bit of support and resistance right here where I got this horizontal line. You can see that kind of twice, right? Right over here on the left-hand side of the screen, we have a little support resistance zone. We kind of came back to it a little bit time later, again here. So we could push up a little bit more. Well, actually, we already dropped back down. Look at that. Already dropped back down. But to answer your question, because I feel like I just gave you a big word salad, so my bad, my guy. Do I think it will squeeze? I really don't know. I'd have to roll up my hands and really look at the short squeeze interest and things of that nature. Okay, all right. Deidre says, ignore that. I'm not doing NVIDIA options. I can't afford ones at the money. I made 400% on SPY today. Big salute to Deidre. I love it. Yo, everybody, do me a huge favor, please. Put a 1 in the chat if you logged your trades today in your trading journal. Put a 1 in the chat if you logged your trades today in your trading journal. Deidre says, let me see. The ones I can afford are so out of the money, it doesn't even make sense to buy. I feel you on that. I actually did an analysis the other day when NVIDIA did their earnings. I'm going to show you guys really quick because I didn't completely complete the chart. But let me see where I put that. Let me see where I put the analysis for NVIDIA. Was it? All right, let me just look at the phone. But speaking to what Deidre's talking about, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, sister. I just had this in here. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. So it's interesting when you talk about like out of the money, more specifically when it comes to implied volatility, right? And so this was during the earnings, as we could see here, May 23rd. I had added 4 NVIDIA call cons to my watch list just to measure the effects of IV on the contract price. So this was like the day of the earnings. I had added these, right? I added 2 that were at the money or in the money, 1 that was expiring the very next day on the 24th, and 1 that was expiring a week later. And then I added 2 that were way far out of the money, 1 that was expiring the next day and 1 that was expiring a week later. Just basically trying to analyze with the implied volatility versus time what would happen with the contracts. So after the earnings was reported, right when the market opened, this is what we saw with the contracts right here that were added to the watch list, which I thought was interesting. So, oops, let me bring this out. The ones, of course, that were in the money, just as Deidre was saying, were the ones that were paying off. These are the ones that were paying off. But if you had it out of the money, both in the short term and having a little bit of time, you were down. That was right when the market opened. But the interesting that happened as time went on, right about here, so this was an hour after the market opened, the out of the money calls that expired later on also began to get a little bit profitable too. So I guess I'm saying all this, Deidre, to say that if you are able to buy yourself enough time with your out of the money calls, or let me not give you financial advice, but for me, if I was able to buy myself enough time with out of the money calls, there could be opportunity to make a little bit of profit there, as we see right here. Okay, what we got? Somebody said no need. I'm not too sure what's going on. Looks like I missed some things. Bro just discovered IV. Ceiling popcorn removal, how affordable? Which one? Why you capping in TikTok live? I'm not too sure what the capping is. 0 to ease for the broke folk. You're gonna learn real quick. Man, I feel like the energy shifted while I was talking about that really quick. Big shout out to Dot. It says that they got a W. Big shout out to Chase Bands of the Cavity Podcast for logging their trades. Chase Bands put it 2. Man, you got a lot. Oh, Chase went from 1 to 2. Okay. Let's see. Dot says, do you use Phantom Wallet or what app? I do not. Deidre says, we'll split 10 to 1 in a few days. NVIDIA options will become affordable. Good reminder. I skipped all over that. That's probably what I just should have said straight up. They still might be a little pricey, but ceiling popcorn removal, big shout out to you. The options contracts will split. It's just like the stock. So same thing happens. The same thing that happens with the stock when the split happens to the contracts. All right. Torrance Brunt says, hey, Mr. C, did you hear what Google said about NVIDIA and Apple? I did not. What news do we have, Torrance? What news do we got? User says user 31512938176 is what TradeZella. So TradeZella is basically a digital or an electronic trading journal platform, and you could connect your broker to it so that your trades are automatically logged. That's what TradeZella is. All right. So somebody says, expose Jesse, dang, you got 3 NVIDIA calls. I think that's why you guys might be thinking I was capping. So if you missed it, I did not say that I got these. These are on the watch list right here. You guys can say right here. What I did was an experiment to show in real time so we can have a paper trail or just a little bit of research to show what happens with contracts that have high IV that are in the money or out of the money compared to expiration time. So maybe I was wondering why everybody's like, why is he capping? Why is he capping? So no, these were on the watch list. And I said that from the very beginning. I said I added 4 NVIDIA call cons to my watch list to measure the effects. So if you perceived me saying I got 4 contracts, no, I said I added them to my watch list so that I can do this research, this experiment to show in real time how IV and expiration affects the contracts. I was wondering why when I came to the comments, you guys are like, capping. Why is he capping? I'm like, what are y'all talking about? All right. Let's see. The Cavity Podcast says, don't forget QQQ. Okay, let's take a look at QQQ, y'all. And again, I thank all of you for rocking with me. We're at 6.6K likes, almost at 7. We got about 40 of us in here rocking together, so thank y'all. We want to take a look at QQQ. Oddly enough, I haven't traded. It feels like it's been a while since I've even charted or traded QQQ. Let's see. Oh, Krista 3.0. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. They were talking about someone in the comments, not you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I was confused. I had scrolled down. I tried to keep track of all the comments. I'm like, where did the cap come from? Stop the cap. All right, so here is, let me just bring this down to one chart. I appreciate you so much, Krista. Thank you. Jesse Fernandez says, what's IV? So Jesse, IV stands for implied volatility, and it's basically the hype, the expectation, right? And so when you see options contracts that have a high IV or a high implied volatility, and this number is expressed as a percentage. When you see contracts, and let's go back to the NVIDIA. I haven't forgot about QQQ, but I just want to break this down a little bit more for Jesse right quick. So when you see, and this is probably not zoomed in enough, so just kind of bear with me, Jesse. These contracts that I added to the NVIDIA watch list all had implied volatility levels that were over 100%. Now, not all of them, but most of them. As we can see here, 169, 170%. When an options contract has a high IV, that basically means there is a high expectation that the price of the stock is going to go in that direction. So if you got puts that have a high IV, that's implied volatility, a high expectation that the stock price is going to drop down. I'm overly simplifying this. I know there's probably somebody in the comments going to be like, no, that's not what it is, but I'm just going to keep it very simple. The long and short of IV is basically there's an expectation that the stock is going to go this direction. So because of that, the contract value doesn't move as much, or it would even lose value even as it heads in your direction. So as we saw here, right? Even though after earnings for NVIDIA, the price had went up a whole bunch, these contracts that were later on in expiration were still down because of the high IV. Now, the further away the price gets, if it gets far, far away, then you start to see the benefit working against that IV. And I feel like I'm kind of getting a little convoluted, so I'm hoping this makes sense. So Jesse, in these contracts that were in the money, that were at the price that NVIDIA was before they released their earnings, before it boomed off before earnings, even though they have a high IV, the price was so far away that they still became profitable. But for the other contracts that were out of the money, the IV was working against it because there was an expectation that, yeah, you're supposed to be getting there. You've got to be way past there because of the high IV for these to get into profit. And so that's what this is kind of talking about. Let me see. We got some comments. Hopefully somebody was able to break that down a bit better than me. Be Sure Realty, thank you for the follow. Expo Jesse says implied volatility essentially is a built-in premium. I like that. Very simple. It's always somebody that comes through and just kind of keeps it very simple, short and simple and sweet. Krista says no problem. Let me see. Carlos says, where do you have NVIDIA going to Friday? Zach, thank you for the follow. Expo Jesse says it's kind of like a golf handicap, but for the stock. You essentially have to not only be correct, but you got to be, yep. Bossed up, thank you for the follow. Big shout out. Torrance Brunt says AI GPU pricing power has likely peaked. Really? Let's take a look real quick, you guys. We got a little bit of news. You know, it might be just talk. You know, sometimes these companies, they come out and they just throw something out there just to kind of, you know, they want to get the market feeling a certain way. Georgia 911 says don't play earnings. 1,000%. So for me individually, I've almost burned my hands off playing earnings. And the odd thing about it is, I will admit, my most profitable trades have been from playing earnings, but they've also been my most what's the word I'm looking at? But basically my worst trades. My most profitable trades have been from earnings, but my worst trades have been from earnings too. So for me, as a rule for myself, I set a rule that says that I won't play earnings. But if you feel enticed, if you feel so compelled to play earnings, at a minimum, I would suggest at least waiting until the numbers are released, seeing how the market is responding, giving it a little bit of time, and then whatever way it's trending after the numbers are released, get in with the trend, right? So if you see it's trending upwards and the market is responding bullish to the earnings, then catch that trend up. If you see that the market is reacting bearish to the earnings, then catch that trend down. But I've learned the hard way several times not to play earnings before the numbers are released. All right, Jesse, thank you for the follow. Q Ma Dukes in the building. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. We're rocking together. Okay, we just want to take a quick look at some news. I guess Google is somewhat taking shots, in my opinion, about everything that's going on in AI. Google announcement. Let's move myself out the way. I don't even know if it's the right thing to Google. Apple and AI. Dang. So we had a comment here in the chat that Google made an announcement regarding AI and Apple, but my opinion is Apple is about to have their WWDC conference, their Worldwide Developer Conference, in a few days, or it's about to start, I think right now, or maybe started today. And so Google might be just trying to push down the hype on AI. I think Apple's going to have some pretty solid announcements when it comes to what they're planning to do with AI, and Google's just really trying to downplay it. That's the longest short of how I kind of interpreted that comment. All right. Slap Embrace says, this guy's helping you think that getting in when the trend is up is going to let you win. Ha ha ha. Not too sure what you mean by that. Slap in bids. One Stock Yacht, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. All right. Kenny Rebus followed the creator. Thank you so much, Kenny. Thank you. Torrance says he got a notice, and that's on the Motley Fool report. So you might want to drop a link or drop an article in the Discord, Torrance. I know you're in the Discord, so big shout out. Yeah, drop an article in there so we could really chop it up, or a link if you don't mind. Okay. The Cavity Podcast, how can we see IV expectation the night before the trading session? So if you're looking at your contracts, do we have it on any of these? Oh, we do have it on some of the screenshots. So let's go to right here. So if you're in Robinhood, these are all in different areas. If you're on Webull, Robinhood, or whatever, I kind of trade mainly on Robinhood, but I do have Webull and Thinkorswim, as we can see here. So I do trade on the 3 different platforms, Robinhood, Webull, but mainly on Robinhood. But if you're looking at your contracts, I might need to log in for us to see it. But on what's called the options chain, and the options chain is basically the log or listing of all the different options contracts and all their details associated with them. On the options chain, it'll tell you the IV associated with a particular options contract. Okay. User 3159295381776. Do you place call and stop loss at the same time every day? I don't necessarily. I don't. I have a stop loss, but I don't enter it into my trading app or my broker. I'm one of those people that, I'm slightly a conspiracy theorist, and I do believe that the big market makers and hedge funds, they use stop loss algorithms, just seeing where do all the retail traders put their stop loss. And so even though my stop may be different than yours or at a different area than the next retail trader, I just don't want to take the chance that I happen to have my stop in the general area where everybody else does. So I have a mental stop loss that it does take discipline. You do have to be disciplined to make sure you get out of a trade when you said that you would. But so I hope that answers your question. I don't literally go in and place them at the same time. I get in my trade. I know mentally where I want to get out if it goes against me, and I do my best to stick to that discipline in doing that. All right, thank you, Torrance. Go ahead and drop that link in the Discord. Let me see. JJ says, what stock should I look at and put long for in the morning when the market opens? That's a tough question. Because if we're talking long-term portfolio, I wouldn't operate in that capacity where I'm going to just jump in right away when the market opens, unless it's been a ticker that's already at the price where I want it to be. If we're talking about the long-term portfolio. Now, if you're just talking long in terms of like bullish, that's a different thing. That's what we were getting ready to get into. And you just helped me realize, JJ, that I've gotten super distracted and somebody wanted to look at QQQ. All right. Joe Renaga, thank you for following. OGCID says, how do I add gold on Met? I do not know, my guy. I do not know. I don't trade in gold, and I don't use MTA5. Sorry about that. I do not know. Okay, so let me get back to it. And I forgot who it was. JJ, thank you for the follow. But somebody asked for QQQ. And if you're still in here, I hope you're still rocking with me. My bad. I got off track. I got distracted. So here is the QQQ daily chart. I was initially charting out what appeared to be a turn, right? Let me kind of squeeze this in so we can look at it. So we were having QQQ ride on up, and then we got to somewhat of a high on the daily chart, and then we started to come down. We had this nice daily trend, and then we broke the trend kind of quickly. We only had it for potentially 1, 2, 3 days. We broke this trend, and now we jumped up. And so me personally, just based off of the way this daily chart is looking and the way that I trade, right? Because I'm a very simple trader. I just trade the trend line with support and resistance. I don't necessarily see a play. What I would like to see is a little bit more structure with the candles, like potentially, right? I'll start off fresh. I will start off fresh, and we can clear this. What I potentially see. I wouldn't necessarily have a lot of conviction with this, but what we could potentially see is somewhat of an upward trend from maybe a couple different points, right? So we have a little bit of something like this. It's almost kind of clean. It is almost kind of clean. Hold on. We might have stumbled upon something for QQQ. All right, Brian says he's new. How should he start? Give me just a moment, Brian. Who asked for QQQ? Are you still in the building? Are you still in the building? I'm going to scroll through. I just want to speak to who asked for QQQ just to show love and say thank you because you helped us identify something. And I think that person is gone. Dang, hold on. We're almost at 8,000 likes. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why did I feel like that person is gone now? Okay. All right. So. Give me just a moment here. So what I see, you guys, I just wanted to give a shout out to the person who asked. Oh, the Cavity Podcast still in the building. All right, cool. Guys, still in the building. I feel like I'm getting a little hot. Let me turn up the fan. Y'all let me know if the fan is too loud. Okay, so this is what I see. We're looking at the QQQ daily chart. We're seeing we got a nice, it isn't as straightforward as I would like it to be, as clean as I would like it to be, but we've kind of identified, at least my eyes, I've identified what appears to be a nice upward trend. It's starting to make that. I usually start out my trend lines on a daily chart, right? I draw a little rough trend line on the daily chart. We can see a little pattern here, right? We come from a point, we bounce up. We come down to a point, we bounce up. Down to this point, bounce up. Down to this point, bounce up. Put a 1 in the chat if you see where I'm going with this. If you see where I'm going with this, put a 1 in the chat. D-Cell Real Estate Agent, thank you for the follow. Torrance Brunt just dropped the link to the Google article in the Discord. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Now put a 1 in the chat if you see where I'm going with this. Thank y'all for the likes. Thank you for the likes. We just passed over 8K. Nice. All right. So for QQQ, I just want to see if y'all rocking with me. If you see where I'm going with this trend line right here, we have this low point, this low, and then we kind of came down to the line and bounced up. We came down to the line and bounced up. We came down to the line and bounced up. Scramble's asking, what app is this? So Scramble, this is Trading View. It is a charting software, charting platform. It is Trading View. This is what the app looks like. It looks exactly the same. They have a browser app that you can log in and use. They have a mobile app. They have an app designed for the iPad, and then they have one designed for the desktop. But this is what it looks like. That's what the icon for the app looks like, and it's called Trading View. So it's a charting software. You can actually hook up a couple of brokers and trade directly from it. I hooked up my Webull account, but I still haven't kind of quite figured it out. But there is some potential there to integrate your broker with Trading View to do your trades. All right. Danny says, this is not a good TA, but y'all do you. All right. Let's see. Gia followed. Thank you so much. It's always interesting when people say things and then they don't offer like clarity. Like, it would be nice if we could get more so of a wholesome discussion. It's one thing to make a comment, but why not contribute something that can add to the overall community so people can learn? That would be like the better thing. But all right, so drawing this trend line here on this QQQ, and then the next thing I do is I go to the 30-minute chart. Here we go. And then I just kind of tighten up my trend line. Tighten up my trend line right here. Like I said, I just keep, and you could go to whatever time frame works better for you. But I'll tighten up my trend line, because the thing that happens when you change time frames, when you draw a trend line, it's gonna look a little off. And the reason why it looks a little off is because on the daily time frame, the trend line visually doesn't necessarily show you at what point, what time of the day did the price drop down to a certain point, because it's a daily chart. But when you go to a lower time frame, like the 1 hour or the 30-minute or whatever the case may be, then you can kind of tailor and tighten up your trend line, because now you can pinpoint when were the lows and the highs of the day. So what I like to do now is I grab my trend and I just tighten it up to about right here. And we can see, look how clean that's getting. Look how clean that's getting. So this, to me, for the most part, is shaping out to be a pretty simple, potential, straightforward trade. What I would do is wait for price to come back down, to bounce off this line, to take my calls, right? So ideally, what I would like to see is for QQQ to continue to do the same thing it's been doing for the last few days. Once price comes down here somewhere and bounces off this line, I'll enter in. I would potentially enter in for calls to the upside. Simple and plain. The next step would just to identify some areas of support and resistance. Like right about here, looks like a support and resistance zone. Right about here, looks like a support and resistance zone, so you might want to be aware of those. Right about here, it looks like it might be some support and resistance. So price might not come all the way back down to drop off the line. It may come to about this area. And you have to just kind of be aware of that. And that's the long and short of how I trade. Nothing super crazy, complex. Like I said, one thing you'll learn, and for the new traders out there, every strategy pretty much has a level of success where it kind of works. It's just the trader is the one that makes it profitable or not. You got people that like trend lines and support and resistance. You got other people that trade fair value gaps. You got some people that like to trade reversals. There's no golden strategy. There's no one that works 100% of the time. There's no strategy that works, theoretically 0% of the time. The goal is to find a strategy that works for you, continue to master it and cultivate it, and just get better and better. And what I've learned from my trading journey is that the more simple I make my trading strategy, the more profits come. That's just for me. The more simple I make it, the more profits come. If I got to think about all these different components, and I'm not knocking anybody else that has a few different factors that goes into their trading, but when I have to think about all these different components, I usually make some mistakes. When I just simplify it to this, it just works out. All right. Facey, thank you for the follow. Kamar Young, chart looking like Christmas trees. Yes. All right. Torrance Brunt says, how much is it? How do you like Webull with TradingView? So like I said, Torrance, I've connected it, but I haven't quite started trading with Webull integrated into my TradingView. It wasn't as straightforward as I would like it to be, so I really got to take some time to sit down, get in the zone, lock in, and figure it out. Now, I will say TradingView is pretty pricey, especially, if you're a new trader or if you got a small account. It is a pretty pricey product, but what I will also say is they have a free version, and as a new trader, as a beginning trader, before you get to that stage where you have a lot of maybe nuances or details or things that you want in your chart, the free version of TradingView will suffice. It does pretty good. I used the free version for about a year and a half before I went and got the premium or the paid version. So I will say that. I think the only thing about the free version, like most things, is they try to throw ads in your face, or at least an ad to sign up. So you just have to be aware of that. But for the most part, the free version is pretty cool. All right, let's see. TradingView can be free. That's right. Mocha Ray, thank you for the lives. This person's comment says, I day trade the opposite options as support and resistance for Mac profit. Ooh, that's interesting. That's an interesting strategy. So if I understand you correctly, are you saying I day trade the opposite options as support and resistance for max profit? I don't want to comprehend you wrong, but I'm guessing if you're trading the opposite, are you waiting for it to come up at the support and resistance level and like a rejection down for puts, something like that? Okay, all right. Jerry says it's an ascending channel. That's right. Jerry's spot on. So you could draw the top part of the channel too to see where price could potentially bounce off of. Here's a good little point right here. I don't like the freaking blue dots though. Why do the blue dotted lines come through on my chart? I don't like that. Cohen, thank you so much, Cohen. Yes, all strategies work, but they require refinement. This is why I love doing the TikTok lives, because you guys help me say what I'm trying to say more eloquently. So thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. Jay Hall's looking for any ICT traders. If you're in the building, drop a 1. Drop a 1 in the chat. Kamar Young, your chart looking like Christmas trees. Apple, thank you for the follow. All right, Mr. Furley says, keep up the good work. Appreciate it. All right, John Paul says, what's your minimum RR per trade? Now, this is a good question, and thank you for asking that, John Paul. If you're still in here, let me know. John Paul. This person, let me tap on you. Oh, you don't have really a name, but they say they only trade at breakouts. I'm only in trouble at breakouts. Oh, only in trouble at breakouts. Okay. I hate this. Why are these freaking things here? So we got a couple of good things, and John Paul just asked a good question. User 31187 says TradeStation charts are powered by TradingView, or at least they look almost identical. Yeah, there's a lot of different platforms where it seems like their charts are coming from TradingView, like TradeZella, the trade journal platform I was telling y'all about. I think they get their charts directly from TradingView. Somebody said, to be honest, if there was a bootleg TradingView, I'd become a pirate. All right, let's see. Let me see. ATORPS90, ATORPS90, thank you for the follow. All right. There was a question. I missed it. Let me see. Oh, John Paul, if you're still in, had a good question about what's my minimum RR per trade. Now, that's a good question. So, I don't have a set minimum RR in general. And I actually got what I'm about to say from another trader by the name of Kia Killy. In general, and this doesn't always line up, but in general, I have a stop loss at like 20% and then a profit at 30%. That's for my swing trades. My scalps are a little different, but stop loss at 20, take profit around 30 or above if I'm swing trading, something like that. But for the most part, I don't have a set defined like RR. I know I probably should, but it just hasn't worked out for me quite yet. So I'm getting there. I'm getting better at that. My thing is for scalps, if I'm scalping specifically, get me a nice 10 to 20% profit, maybe stop loss at about 5%, depending on how the price action is, how the price is moving. For swing trades, I like to go for 30% if I'm swing trading something over a few days, 30%, and then stop loss at 20, something like that. But for the most part, that's how I rock with it. Okay. Cohen says swing trades usually target the bigger picture or price logic. That's right. Cohen, thank you so much. Toki Frank in the building. What's up, Curtis? What's going on? It's good to have you. Thanks for coming through. Damn, y'all got us up to over 10K likes, almost 11K. I can't even believe like we just hit 11K like that. Let me see. Vinny Harris says, do you offer signals? I put my trades in my Discord, but I know there's no way around it, right? Long story short, that is, I do put my signals, but I would rather kind of help people cultivate their own trading style and teach them how to fish than to rely on just my signals. What I really try to do the best at is, I do have a channel, right, where I put in my signals or my trades that I'm in, but more so than that, in the trading chat room, I like to put the rationale of my trades. I don't want people just to rely on signals and take it from somebody who's been in multiple Discords. It's just very, very hard to mimic a person's exact trade. Like when they get in the entry, the price they paid, when they get out, the closest you can come, in my opinion, is if a person live trades and they're, showing you in real time, literally in those moments. But even then, it's still really, really hard to have the same kind of reflection or performance of that person. I would rather kind of cultivate a community where we put in the trade ideas. I put in my trade ideas before the market opens, like on this particular night at 9 o'clock at night. I put in my what I was looking at. Remember, if you guys were on my live right now, I was telling you about that double top on Amazon. So I like to put in the rationale for what I'm looking for and then answer questions to offer clarity. That way, if I don't happen to get in the trade, then you still have the opportunity and you understand the logic, you understand the rationale. I do offer when I get into a trade, I put that in there, but I don't want you to lean on that. I don't want you to depend on it because it's just very, very hard to mimic the same performance. All right. Let's see. Yes, I don't believe in copy-paste trades. That's right. David Snell, thank you for the follow. The Anti-Guru, you trade technicals or fundamentals? Lately, the Anti-Guru, I've been really leaning on technicals. I try to cultivate my mind to make sure I bring in fundamentals, right? Things like that, especially the longer term. Here's what I'll say. The longer term out you're looking for your trade, the more you should lean, or the more I lean on fundamentals. The shorter my time frame is when I'm just scalping, I'm more so on the technical side. So the further I'm going into the future, the more I'm looking at the fundamentals of a company. The sooner it is, like if I'm just looking for the next hour, I'm going pure technicals. Let me see. All right. Money Bounty, what's your watch list for tomorrow? At this moment in time, it's just the Google Play that I was saying. Just this one ticker. And I'm actually happy that I did this because I usually don't do this when I go live. I'm simply looking for Google to come back down to this trend line or potentially this support and resistance zone before entering calls to the upside. That's the long and short of what I'm particularly looking for tomorrow. Simple and plain. Tim 2 Limitless. So I was in Kraken a few weeks ago. I didn't have diamond hands. I was in CRKN and FFIE at the same time. I forgot which one I took a loss on and the other one I profited on. So I ended up making like a couple $100 when it was all said and done. But yeah, man. Okay. Vinny here says, wow, thank you so much for the honest answer. Please respond to my DM when you get a chance. For sure, for sure. Jake, is the Discord server options? Yeah, for the most part, it's mostly, I trade options. Let me say it that way. So in the Discord, we're talking about options trading. I talk about options trading, and I also talk about long-term investing. That's the biggest thing. The goal is to take the profits from trading and invest in long-term investing, whether it's stocks or, you know, maybe real estate or just something else. The whole goal of my Discord is for us to cultivate a community of people who take profits and you just go invest somewhere. You just want to put your money somewhere else for the long term to take care of you in the future. That's it. As we all see, these economic times are getting harder and harder and harder. And so we got to start thinking more so about the long term. It's really dope and it's really cool as we get better and better as traders to make some good quick money. But you want to take that good quick money and put it somewhere that's going to take care of you in the future. So while I do talk about options trading, I also do a full analysis on my long-term investment portfolio. And you can get my long format videos all on YouTube. You go to my YouTube, CurtisG24, and all of my long format videos are there. I talk about what I'm looking for in terms of a long-term investment, companies, and things of that nature. Let me see. This is the first thing this is the first time I've ever seen this. TikTok is saying, great job. You've gone live for 90 minutes. Don't forget to take a break. All right. Vaughn 901 says they've got Coca-Cola going down within this week or next week. Stocks and Options R Us says, hey, Kurt, how do you get the split screen without 10K followers? All right. You guys want to hear something very, very cheesy right now? To Stocks and Options Russ. How do I get this split screen without 10K followers? So, if you guys want to hear something very cheesy, I'm literally just in a Zoom meeting with myself, and I have my cell phone pointed at my computer screen. That's it. That's how I do it. I'm literally in a Zoom meeting by myself. I have my phone pointed at my computer. I just have it at an angle so you don't see my phone, and I just have my phone pointing at my computer screen. So, that's that. Do you ever believe in your strategy enough to dollar cost average on your contracts when they're down? Not yet. It's crazy that you would ask that question because I just started having that thought this week. This was the first time this week I just started having that thought. So just the fact that you're asking that question might be a sign. That might be a sign for me. I haven't done it yet. Never did that. But this was the first time this week I started really asking myself, should I start trying that out? All right. Jake says, yes, I agree. I've been investing long term for the past few years. I just take like 1/8 of it for options. That's right. Yep. Random, thank you for the follow. Desmond Campbell says, that's fire. Yes, indeed. Random says, what's the Discord? So the Discord link is in the bio. It's called Passive Income University. Yes, indeed. But, I'm hoping you guys do get a little bit of value when I go on TikTok live. It always means the most to me that you guys give me good energy. We have a nice, good discussion, just chopping it up. And my goal is during these lives to offer some value. I'm hoping that I was able to answer a question for somebody or give a little bit of clarity about something and just remind you that, especially if you're a beginner trader, it doesn't have to be super complicated. I think we have this perception of trading, especially if you're new, that it has to be this intricate, complex. I got to have all these indicators. I got to have all this. Let me show you guys something. Look, when I first got into trading and I first started using TradingView, I had all these indicators that I would have. All of these right here would be indicators that I would use. I'd have them all on my chart, all kinds of things. All of these things on my chart, and my trading performance wasn't good. And I realized over time, the more I take away, the simpler I make it, just the better for me. And I'm not knocking anybody who uses, indicators and has a handful, because they definitely have their place. But if you're new in your beginning and you have this thought to yourself that your trading style has to be complicated, I just want to remind you that it does not have to be that way. You can have a very simple trading style, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that matters is that you're making your profits and your trades are going well. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to care. You know what I mean? If you lose money, nobody's going to care. If you make money, nobody's really going to care. In the moment when you post something or if you talk about it, they might say something. But at the end of the day, it's you that has to live with the loss. It's you that has to live with the profits. You get all the rewards, but you get all the consequences. So don't let the narrative fool you to make you think that you have to have something super complicated, because you don't. All right, Cohen says, understanding charts and technicals can be simple, but developing a deep understanding of options is far from easy. My gosh, Cohen, let me tell you. And for me, it mainly, I think for most of us, for me, it was psychological. I really had to learn about myself. I had to learn about what makes me impatient, what makes me greedy, what makes me fearful. And this is why I say you want to have a trading journal where you detail your emotions. When you can control your emotions and your psychology, at least for me, that's where I saw my biggest improvements. Technicals, after a while, you can learn them, right? They can be straightforward. But having a deep understanding of how the volatility affects you, when it kind of scares you. Why did you get scared? When you feel like you are chasing a trade, why are you chasing? Things like that. Tokyo Frank says, how was your day? Day was pretty good. Busy. Day was pretty good. Torrance Brun says, what's the difference with options? Not too sure what you mean, brother, by what's the difference of options. 7 Eyes for Life, thank you for the follow. All right, I had enough indicators to give me an epileptic seizure without a clear idea of what really mattered. Exactly. Yes. And I don't want to... I'm glad Cohen kind of put that comment to remind me. Yo, me skin, thank you for sharing the live. I'm glad Cohen kind of put that comment, right? I'm going to read it one more time for us. Big shout out to Cohen. Understanding charts and technicals can be simple, but developing a deep understanding of options is far from easy. That's very true. And in my opinion, a lot of that is tied to the psychology and our emotional state. So that's really where you want to be tapped in. You really want to be tapped in with your emotionals, things like that. Your emotionals. All right. Cohen says, I think he means different from options and stocks. Okay, cool. So an options contract, I don't want to get too technical, but basically buying the shares or the stocks directly are you're literally buying. How can I say? Why am I stuttering right now? You guys always help me explain these things. You guys are a lot more eloquent than I am. But if I could keep this as simple as possible, the difference between stocks and options are, of course, the stocks are literal shares, and then the options contracts are more so, they represent the underlying stock. So we all know that one options contract is representative of 100 shares. I'm trying not to get into all of that. It's basically a hedge. That's what I'll say. It's basically a hedge. The original purpose for options trading or options contracts were to help investors hedge against or with their portfolio. So for example, if you were thinking that maybe some of the stocks or a stock in your long-term portfolio was going to take a dip, you could buy some puts on that dip. The puts are basically expectation that the stock is going to go down. And if you're expecting that your long-term portfolio is going to take a little dip, you could buy puts. And because the price is going down, the puts will go up. So basically options are hedges for the actual stock, if that's the simple way I could put it. And so we're in an era now where people are just trading options. They're not really even buying the shares. They're just trading options. I hope that helps. River City Rug says, stating out all you need is the 50 EMA, 20 EMA, and enter and exit on the cross. Boom. Yes, indeed. So basically, in options, you are buying the share for a fraction of the price of a full share. That's a better way to look at it. Man, y'all tonight have been saying things so eloquently and on point. Yes, indeed. All right. So, I appreciate all y'all rocking with your boy. I did want to just tap in real quick, show some love to the TikTok live community, because you guys always show me love. I'm going to do a lot better with trying to get on the lives. One thing about me though is I do have a 9 to 5 gig, so I don't really have a consistent schedule with my TikTok lives. I just try to get in and get on where I fit in, and so I definitely just really quick on this TikTok, which is to go in here and get some of these comments, because I will take this video and upload it to the YouTube just in case anybody wanted to rewatch it. But for the most part, I will be going through. Just want to get this quick little video. All right, y'all bear with me. But just thank y'all for rocking with me, man. We almost got 13,000 likes. Got about 50 people in the room, a little less than 50. But for all of y'all that really rocked out with me, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We had a lot of comments. I love it. I love it. All right, as I'm scrolling through, just scrolling through, this might not be the best way to do this. I got to figure out a better way from the tech side, because I like to record these videos or take the recording anyway and upload them. But yeah. All right, so I appreciate y'all. I'll be tapping in with your boys soon, or y'all tap in with me soon, or whatever the case may be. It's time for me to get a little bit of rest. But all right, y'all, everybody have a good night. Don't forget to start your trading journal. And if you already have a trading journal, don't forget to log your trades. All right, y'all. Peace.